Focus today. Steve here along with Doug. The Steve and Doug Show here. Doug Gould with Foundations for Recovery. You know, it seems like you were just here not long ago.
I was for your spring boost.
You were. We were talking out there about what Foundations for Recovery does and all the rest. You know, there may be people who don't really have much of an idea of it. It is a locally homegrown kind of an organization, isn't it? Describe what it is you do.
Okay, Foundation for Recovery. We opened our doors in December 2011. And what we do is we do peer mentoring, one-on-one recovery coaching for addiction recovery. And that just doesn't only have to deal with chemical addiction, but also non-substance abuse.
All right, I was going to ask you, so because we think of chemical addiction, but what else would it be?
Well, we have coaches that actually also specialize in pornography addiction, gambling, food for myself, shopping and so forth like that. But so peer mentoring actually takes that participant who walks through our doors, and what we do is we do an assessment, and then we match up that client or that participant with one of our state-certified recovery coaches, and we walk them through a program. We do a 12-week program with our participants, but most of the participants will stay with us a lot longer, and we're fine with that. Yeah.
And it sounds like it's one-on-one.
It is. It's peer mentoring. You know, it's basically good old-fashioned discipleship, if you will. But the mentors that we have, the recovery coaches, all of them have a background in recovery, and we're a firm believer that God never passes up on using a hurt in your life to help someone else, and so that's what we do at the foundation.
So how are you different from other addiction organizations? How would you see the difference?
Yeah, the cool thing is the fact that most all of our coaches have gone through addiction recovery, and so when you're coming through that door, the peace of mind that participant has is I get to talk to somebody that knows what it feels like to put a needle in my arm.
Or whatever the addiction
may be. And so there's a trust that's built and a relationship that's developed where that mentoring process blooms and blossoms into a place of complete honesty, of guiding someone through. And then what we do at the foundation is we also use the aspect of faith-based recovery. So if a participant wants to use their Christian faith or their faith involved regarding recovery, we can facilitate that, whether through the 12-step program, taking them to meetings, doing a Bible study, what have you. It gives us that freedom to actually, at the end of that session, hey, let's have a word of prayer.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Well, if it's one-on-one, I mean, I imagine that your specialists there, your recovery experts, can only work with so many people. How many people do you have at any given time that you can work with?
Well, right now we have 25 recovery coaches.
Wow.
We have 15 actually active, meaning they're taking participants. The rest of the coaches are helping with the involvement in community outreach, things of that nature. But right now we try to keep our coaches right around 5 to 7 participants each. And that's a good number. We like that number. So yeah, we don't want to overwork them.
And how many you started? You said 2012.
2011 we opened our doors.
So in 5 years, how many have come through?
Oh my gosh! I think over last year we had well over 500 people walk through our doors.
Wow.
Now
and you're able to track them afterwards, see how they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're pushing about a 55% sobriety rate.
I was going to ask you what that is.
Which is 0 to 12 months.
Okay.
And so what we do is we do a follow-up. Usually the 0 to 6 months is where that relapse possibly could come. Yeah. But the cool thing is that we can teach through relapse. We never give up. We've had some participants have multiple relapses, and we want them to come. And we talk about compulsion, we talk about triggers, we talk about those behavioral things that got them back into that lifestyle. So it's good. It's awesome.
In our area, you know, we've heard about how in different parts of the nation you have different kinds of problems more so than in other areas. Is our geographical zone heavy with any one particular kind of addiction or problem that you've come to face?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, a few years ago, Jackson County, we led the nation per population in prescription drug abuse. In fact, we led the state of Oregon. And now what we're seeing is a push through not only prescription drugs, but into heroin. Now, heroin, I believe, is out doing the meth type of thing. The meth.
There's more heroin.
There's more heroin addicts right now, and the age that we're having with the heroin is from 18 to that 28 age.
Okay.
We're getting a lot of that age young people coming through our doors in that mid-20 section.
Now, you had mentioned where some people in sobriety, the first 6 months is the most critical. I've heard that with heroin and some of those other types of harder drugs, that way, if you can put it in those terms, it actually can be further out, where there's like a year and a half, where that seems to be a zone. Do you find some drug addictions have more extended problems than others?
Yeah, well, it's basically individual. It's how much how you are going to work the program, if you will. We can teach behavioral development, and what that means is we try to share with the individual, if you're going to hang around old friends and old environment, it's going to equal old behavior. And so what we try to do is, through that time of one-on-one coaching, again, 12 weeks is only what 3 months, and so what we try to do is extend that time farther down. So I still have guys that coming up on a year.
Yeah.
You know,
wow.
And it's good to see the change. But again, it's up to the individual. It's their pathway to recovery. So we'll stay with them as long as they want to be with us.
All right. Now, coming up, you've got what's called the Illumination Dinner, and it is taking place April 22nd, South 28. Oh, it's RSVP by the 22nd,
yeah,
right?
correct.
All right. Tell us, what is this dinner about?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Pastor Jim over at Mountain Church and their staff has been so graciously willing to open up their facility. So we're going to be catering a wonderful dinner in. It's going to be a wonderful night. We have an opportunity to talk about what faith not only is happening in our community, but what faith is happening in the state of Oregon. So we have our state representative, Sal Esquivel, coming in to share a little bit about what we see in the state of Oregon regarding addiction. And then we also have great, wonderful testimonies. We have a great story. Pastor Jesse Edwards is going to be sharing his story, once incarcerated and now going through a program and now in ministry. So it's cool to see. Plus, we have a little special guest that one of our clients is just celebrating some wonderful time and being reunited with their daughter, his daughter. And so we're going to be having that. So there's going to be a wonderful night of just wonderful talk about faith-based recovery. But what we try to do is we try to instill within our community what we have to offer. So it's an opportunity where you can come to the dinner, listen to some things that we talk about regarding faith and recovery, and then listen to a Q&A and have a wonderful time.
Well, so who is it that you're hoping will come to this Illumination dinner?
Actually, anybody that's willing to say, you know what, Doug, we've been watching you, we believe in you, and we want to support you. And so not only do we want people to come with questions regarding addiction recovery, but we want people to come to say, hey, you know what, I want to partner with you. I want to see what we can do to help facilitate a further growth with the foundation, because we've got some big goals.
Well, give us an idea. What are some of the things you want to do?
Well, my goodness, we need more housing here in our community. So Foundation for Recovery would like to get
housing
into that.
for those who are addicted?
For in sober living, clean and sober living.
Do you have any housing now that you
No,
do?
we actually we're kind of a resource broker, so we actually use great facilities.
So this would be an
community.
Expansion out for what you're
Absolutely. And plus we want to get into residential treatment. We're limited here. Our friends over at the Addiction Recovery Center, they got a 4 to 6 week wait.
Really?
And statewide.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So there's a big demand.
Yeah, and I got a big vision. So because I'm a big guy, so I've got some things that I want to share with the people in the community to say, listen. Here, I'm a firm believer, and this is the cool thing about this, Steve, is people will give to the Dove, not because you have a need, but they see your vision of what you are doing here. They see the reason why Christian television is so needed here in our community. And so when people come to these dinners, they can actually see what's happening. If you look at the big picture in addiction recovery, if you look at the epidemic of addiction in America, you may say, well, what is my $25 going to do? But if you take one individual, one life, and change that life at a time, then you can actually see what's happening. And that's what we try to do, one life at a time.
All right, so the Illumination Dinner is going to be at Mountain Church?
Mountain Church at 6 o'clock, Thursday, April 28th. And the seats are limited, so you need to call 541-245-HOPE, 541-245-4673 at the office, and reserve your seat.
Okay. All right, good. And the website they can go to get this to?
We have a new website, ffrhope.com, ffrhope.com.
All right, and awesome. You want to have RSVPs by April 22nd?
Yep, we've got to get a head count.
That's coming up.
Yeah, a little chicken and tri-tip and everything else. So.
Yeah. And then 6 p.m. for the dinner on the 28th, which is a Thursday, in case
It's on a
you're
Thursday,
wondering.
yeah.
And 6 to 8 p.m. is the time that you have for this, right?
It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a wonderful night. Got great guest speakers, and it's just going to be a wonderful time of fellowship and talk about faith and recovery.
Well, if you have any questions, you can always call us, but I'd probably more directly go to your website. Give that again.
Absolutely. FFR Hope. FFRHope.com.
Okay. Doug.
Thanks,
Doug
buddy.
Gould, Foundations for Recovery. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, coming up, we're going to be talking to Rod Chambers. He's with the American Family Association, and we're going to be discussing some things that have to do with religious freedom. You'll want to stay tuned for that. Yeah. Coming up in just a few minutes here on The Dove.
Awesome.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at thedove.us.